Good day, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk about how many of us have a challenge with settling our mind because it's always racing and we're not able to stop it. And this creates a lot of discomfort and anxiety and so I want to get into some ways in which you can start to become aware of your own behavior and your own daily routines and rituals that may be causing this never ending thought train in your mind, okay? So, one thing that I've noticed in my own life and daily routines is that when I am in, when I'm continuously busy and never settling down or relaxing myself in between, transitioning in between daily things or tasks, like, from my morning work till my afternoon school work. If I don't take a walk in between or relax or settle my mind, I often feel overwhelmed in general. Okay. And another thing that I think is very important is having a morning routine and an evening routine. Most of us, not including myself, have gotten a lot better. First thing in the morning, we're on our phones, right? And first thing before we go to bed, or the last thing before we go to bed, we're on our phones. And most of us are scrolling through social media, checking our messages, our notifications, getting these constant like dopamine releases in our mind that are not calming our mind, but are only stimulating activity, continuous activity. So what I'm trying to say, and then at work, right? Like on your break, or while you're working, you're on your phone, or you're chatting with people, you're on your lunch or eating your lunch, or talking to people. What I'm trying to say is that on a daily basis, yes, we have things that we have to do. But at the same time, if we don't practice daily stillness for our minds, if we don't flex that muscle, then we are always going to have activity going on in our minds. And it'll be a lot harder to calm it down, to train it to calm it down if we don't actually flex that muscle of calming it down every day. I can give you an example of something that I do in the morning time. I wake up first thing, I do a little bit of yoga, and then I have a cup of tea, and then I go for a walk around the block. Okay? And none of these activities require me to talk to anybody or go on my phone. Okay? Sometimes I go on my phone. After I've done my yoga and my walk, I'm sitting down before work, I go on my phone, but not all the time. Okay? I try not to make it a habitual thing that I do all the time, because you have to remember, we're humans, we come from animals. Animals are habitual creatures, humans are habitual creatures as well. And so to keep in mind what you are doing on a daily basis, and to try and to be mindful to not do things like that every day, and to do things that are create more stillness and peace within you before you start your day. And when you do this every morning, this becomes a routine, and you're also flexing that stillness muscle within your mind. And and the same thing at night, right? Not going on your phone and not stimulating your mind. I think it's okay to stimulate your body in some way, like going for a walk, but not engaging mentally or emotionally with things, because that, increases your nervous system and your heart rate. So to more so not really focus on anything, go for a walk or sit in your backyard without your phone. No deep conversations before bed or even first thing in the morning. And the important part of doing it in the morning and before you go to bed, too, is that in the morning, This is the start to your day. Have you ever, you know that when somebody says, "Oh, you stubbed your toe first thing in the morning, and the rest of your day was shit," right? Like, that just goes to show that whatever it is that happens in your morning really carries on for the rest of the day. And it really sets the tone for the rest of your day, the energy, the feeling in you. You want to start your day off on a positive, uplifting, peaceful note and in a good state of mind. If you're going on your phone, then you're heightening your nervous system, getting dopamine rushes, checking messages, getting, your energy's focused in, outside of you and creating, excitement and not peace. And you're creating more overstimulation in your mind and in your body. Okay? So you can see where I'm going with that. And so doing something in the morning to create a state of peace and stillness for the rest of your day. And in the evening time, you want to go to bed with somewhat of a calmer, empty mind. They say that whatever you're doing before bed, whatever you're thinking about, okay, whatever you're doing, whatever you're stimulating your mind with, goes to sleep with you, right? So if you are overstimulating your mind with all this, content or deep conversations, serious arguments or whatever, and then you go to bed, it is said that you're not going to have the most restful sleep. And sleep is very important for our overall processing of our day, of the memories, the things that happened, our conversations with people, like everything. It's just important for processing. So you want to make sure that you go to bed on a lighter note. So I'm sure you can see what I'm trying to say here is that when we flex our muscle of stillness, okay, when we practice times in the morning, in the evening, and let's say a few times during the day where you walk away from what you're doing. Here I'm sitting outside in my backyard doing nothing, you know? When you practice that, then in times when, you know, there's maybe a little bit of like high stress going on in your life, there's things that are, things going on at work or stuff going on with your family or your friends that is kind of like stressful or upsetting. Then when you're in that heightened state of stress, because you've already been practicing being still and bringing yourself to a centered place, you'll already know automatically, I know what I need to do in order to come to a calmer state. So, in a sense, what you're doing is learning how to regulate your body to get back to homeostasis state, which is back to calmness and centeredness and, you know, regulation. Okay. And I feel like a lot of us don't practice regulating our bodies, our minds, and our emotions. And so the simple task of sitting here without my phone and without conversation and allowing the thoughts to go throughout my mind without attaching to them, just acknowledging them and refocusing on the present moment, hearing the birds, you know, the sound of the wind going against the trees and the leaves blowing in the wind. The more you practice this on a daily basis, this more of this becomes your natural way of being, and your thoughts will start to slow down. You'll be able to consciously detach from the thoughts and bring yourself back to the present moment. If anything, I have come from such a chaotic mind, and so I understand what it feels like to be attached to your thoughts, and to think that your thoughts are real and they're happening and they're, you know, but when you start to practice this coming back to the present moment, and the more you do it, the more you'll be able to be in control of your mind and coming back to that present moment. Okay? Anyway, I hope that resonated with somebody today, and I hope that you can start practicing every day, even 10 minutes. Work yourself up to more time, overtime. Start small. With any habit, you always have to start small, because if you give yourself too much to do, then we end up failing in some cases because it's too much all at once. So I would recommend starting, honestly, the best time to start your stillness practice is first thing in the morning. Don't go on your phone. Give yourself at least an hour, okay? Time to yourself. Remember, our focus, our energy, whatever we focus on is exactly what we're going to experience. So if we're always focused outside of us, on our phones, other people's lives, checking this, checking that, emails, blah, 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 our focus is not on us. And so our mind is going to be out of control. We need to be in control somewhat of the certain aspects or parts of us, like our mind, our regulating our emotions. So if you spend all of your time focusing on everything but you, then your thoughts are going to run your life and run your mind, and you won't ever be able to stop them. So the way you can start to become in control is focusing your attention on you and you only. First thing in the morning, no phone, first hour. And then eventually over time you can build up to maybe having a night routine. And then maybe while you're at work, on your break, instead of going on your phone, maybe wait till the last 10 minutes or the last 5 minutes to check your phone. First, how many ever minutes of your break take just for you, even while you're eating. Don't go on your phone while you're eating. That's another thing I'll get into in another video is when you are on your phone or doing other things while you're eating, because you're not focused on the eating and the nutrients and feeling the gratitude of the food going into your body's actually not getting all of the nutrients of the food. It's crazy, right? Anyway, start there and be patient and loving and kind to yourself because you deserve it. We all deserve it. Okay? Thanks everybody for watching. I hope to see you next time. And remember to stay mindful.